What's up guys, Digi here from ProNDC. Welcome to another ESO build video. In today's video I want to show you the Stamina Sorcerer PVE Build update for the Clockwork City DLC. I went with a tiny bit of a different setup, a little bit more sustain, about the same damage but not the max DPS version, because I do not have the, I'm missing one more weapon to actually play it and 2 armor pieces, and it's kind of hard to farm. But I don't want to waste any more time. Let's get right into the stats. So as you can see, I am a Red Guard Stamina Sorcerer. Red Guard, personally for me, the best race because we get more sustain, we restore stamina with our light attacks and heavy attacks, like with melee attacks in general. And we get 10% more max stam, which is really nice. You can see the stats for yourself. So we have more than 4k weapon damage with the Warrior Monostone using max health, max stam food. And yeah, as you can see, I'm sitting at just 16.2k health. That's actually really low. So some of you might want to get this higher. I personally, myself, I can play just fine with this low amount of HP. So what you could do is either, instead of Red Guard, go with an Orc, because Orcs have more HP. So you get around the same DPS. I think a little bit less, but you have more health and a little bit less stamina. You do not have the stamina return, so you have a little bit more issues with sustain. Khajiit basically also works, just for additional information. What you can also do to get more health is of course put attribute points into health or run pieces in heavy. You can, if you put on one piece of heavy, you get from the passives of the heavy armor. From Juggernaut, you get 2% more HP, and you'd be sitting at 16.8k. But as I said, adjust it. I think it's better to adjust it with your attribute points to get a better amount of health, because for each medium armor piece that you drop, you lose 2% of crit chance, and I won't actually do that. Do not recommend it. So for gear, what I currently run is 5 pieces of Vicious Ophidian, jewelry, 2 armor pieces, divines on the armor, weapon damage enchantments on the jewelry pieces, and then I combine that with Hunting's Rage. Weapon 2 times 2 daggers and 3 armor pieces. Then I run Veldreth, and I run a Maelstrom Bow in Nirnhond. So to further explain it, because we have Vicious Ophidian, we have cost reduction from the 5-piece bonus on both bars, which is really good for sustain. Every time we kill an enemy, we get 2k stamina back. Basically, that's what people focus on all the time. They think Vicious Ophidian is just for sustain, and people really underestimate the damage that you get from the set. 2 times weapon crit is insane. It's almost 8% weapon crit that we gain, additional weapon damage and minor slayer, and 5% additional damage. And that gets even higher with all the other buffs that we receive from other group members and trials from Warhorn and Combat Prayer. So that adds up, so the 5% become more valuable in group scenarios. And people keep forgetting that. And then we have Hunting's Rage, which also gives us 2 times weapon crit, max stam and weapon damage. It's just like a very simple set. You could replace this with Briarheart, which will give you around the same damage, but a little bit more heal. But to actually get the most DPS, what you want to get is Vicious Ophidian weapons. And for Vicious Ophidian weapons, you need to run Crackle on Trials. I mean, you also need to run Crackle on Trials to get the Vicious Ophidian jewelry pieces and armor pieces. But I only have a sharpened dagger, as you can see here. And yeah, these are kind of hard to get. I have an axe, but the thing with axes is axes do bleed damage, and bleed damage ignores the physical resistance of your enemy. Basically, like, bleed damage will always deal the same amount of damage. Like, it will act as if the enemy has 0 resistance, and this is good if your enemy still has a lot of resistance left. However, in my group, we are relatively close to getting the resistance down to 0, or have so much penetration that it's close to 0. So the axe becomes less valuable, because by dropping a dagger, you also drop 5% weapon crit chance. And this is just not worth it. You will end up with less DPS by running an axe. So Yeah, so you want to get vicious ophidian weapons, hard to get, with jewelry pieces, and on the body for maximum damage, you want to run the automaton set. So you get a weapon crit, max stam weapon damage, and 400 weapon damage on all your physical damage abilities, and that's basically everything that you do. I think also including your heavy and light attacks. And the only skill that does not get buffed is your poison injection. That's the only skill that does not benefit from the automaton set. This is a ton of weapon damage. So you want to have that on the body to get the 400. As you can see, like last patch, I ran automaton jewelry pieces and I only get 386. However, the issue with running automaton with Hunting's Rage combined, it doesn't matter if you run automaton on the weapons and body or on jewelry pieces on the body combined with Hunting's Rage, because every time you swap to the back bar, you will either lose the 5-piece bonus of Hunting's Rage or of automaton. So you either lose 400 weapon damage from this set bonus or 300 from this set bonus. And that's not good. So what you want to do is get Vicious Ophidian, because you lose 129 weapon damage, which is far less, and the cost reduction. So that's not that big of a deal. But yeah, kind of hard to get. That's pretty much it for these sets. Then for the traits, we run Nirnhorn on the main bar, Infuse on the offhand, with Poison on the main hand, and Weapon Damage Enchantment on the offhand. I explained why I do that in a different video. Check the video description. I will link the video there, and you can hear for yourself why I chose these traits. Basically, I can 100% assure you, even if you're not sure if this is correct, I can assure you that it is. We did the math, we did tests on a 51 mil Centurion just to eliminate crit luck, because on the 51 mil Centurion, this is a 20 to 21 minute fight. You won't have crit luck. Everything will be in line, plus minus 3%. And yeah, to have crit luck over the course of 21 minutes is just it's just impossible. So we tested the traits on the 51 mil Centurion, and trust me, Nirnhorn plus Infused is better. It's even better than Infused with Sharpened. Infused on iPhone actually out DPSing general penetration is really big. So trust me, this will give you the most DPS. Then on the bow, we currently have Nirnhorn. You actually want to run Precise, but Nirnhorn is probably just as good. This is it's a really tiny difference, but you won't really feel it on the skeleton, and you won't really feel it in dungeons. A little bit more in trials with a lot of warhorns. But yeah. For the monster set, Veldreth, that's the way to go. You can run Stormfist if you want to. It's up to you. So Stormfist adds stam recovery and gives us a little bit more AoE damage in trash fights. It's a little bit better than Veldreth. However, for trials, Veldreth will outperform Stormfist, because there's bosses where you can hit with more than just one of the disease spores, like Rockhard, the Assembly General, Valarial, just to name a few. So that's pretty cool, and there's no other set that can out DPS Veldreth in these fights. But you have to position yourself correctly, of course. So these are the two sets that I recommend for the Stam Sorc. For skills, I will just try to quickly cover the skills before I get to the rotation. So we have Shrouded Daggers as our main spammable skill. We have Rending Slashes. We have Hurricane. We have Deadly Cloak, Bound Armaments, Flawless Dawnbreaker as the ultimate, Ballista, Bound Armaments again, Razor Caltrops, Rearming Trap, Poison Injection, and Endless Hail. Okay, this was the quick overview. Now I will basically explain what the skills do. So we run this skill as the main spammable skill. This is the skill that you use kind of the most, or you use you keep repeating to use this skill. And I went to this morph because it does a little bit more AoE damage, because the daggers jump to other targets and they deal an additional extra damage, and this is really good for AoE cleave damage. We can replace this one in certain fights with rapid strikes. However, I just like the direct damage from Shrouded Daggers a little bit more than rapid strikes, because like we have a 0.6 seconds channel time, and in all fights where I need to block, I run Shrouded Daggers, because like I will just show you the difference. I will put this here. Just go to the skeleton. Like as you can see, rapid strikes has a cast time. If I like cast rapid strikes and block while executing the skill, it will just stop doing damage, as you can see. But Shrouded Daggers, it's just one hit. As you can see, it's just one hit. And I can block and still, while blocking, throw this one. But if I channel rapid strikes, it will stop midway when I keep blocking. And while I channel it, I cannot block. That's a little bit of an issue. So in all fights where the boss is standing still, I use rapid strikes. Okay, come on. I use rapid strikes instead of Shrouded Daggers. In all fights where I have to move and need to cast abilities from a distance, or block and stuff like that, I just use Shrouded Daggers. Like DPS wise, you will have a tiny bit more probably with rapid strikes. It depends a little bit, because it's more bursty. But for general utility, Shrouded Daggers wins hands down. Like I can also like dodge roll cancel it, no, or bar swap cancel it. It's just great. So if you're not sure what to use, Shrouded Daggers is the safer approach. Trust me. Then Rending Slashes, single target dot. As you can see, it's bleed damage and it ignores resistances, so that's really good. Then we have Hurricane. Hurricane AoE ability buffs the resistances. As you can see, like I'm sitting at 17.7k and 18.4k. That's a lot. And it grows stronger, it grows bigger, deals a lot of damage. Then we have Deadly Cloak, mostly for the AoE cost reduction. And it also deals some AoE damage. Then we have Bound Armaments for more stamina and 11% more damage on heavy attacks, which is important because in trials we do heavy attacks basically all the time. So the 11% more damage are really beneficial. And then you have Flawless Dawnbreaker. So slotting this one gives us 5% more weapon damage. And then from the Fighter's Guild ability you get 3% more here. And that's nice. But it's also really good AoE ultimate, like for trash fights, and deals a good amount of a good damage over time effect. For single target we use the Ballista, and the Ballista is really strong, as you can see, and yeah, don't really have to explain. Then again, Bound Armaments, because we need it on both bars. Then we have Razor Claw Drops from the PvP skill line Assault. We need around 200 alliance points to unlock it, and it's a great AoE dot. Yeah, ticks really hard, really huge area, great skill. Really go and unlock it. Rearming Trap, single target dot, and gives us minor force, really strong. Same goes for Poison Injection, also single target dot, and extremely strong in execute. And then we have the Endless Hail. This is our strongest ability if we use the Maelstrom Bow. Activates the Maelstrom Bow. Make sure to cast this as the first ability on your bar, or at least as the second ability on your bar, because you cannot bar swap cancel it, because this won't activate the Maelstrom Bow. You have to wait for the first damage tick actually. But yeah, strongest ability that we have on stamina, single target and multi-target wise, and that's pretty much it for skills. What you could do in dungeons just to get more healing, it's pretty simple. Just slot Crit Surge instead of Rending Slash. Like, and then you have like Crit Surge, and you heal yourself all the time when you critically strike every second for 3k. That's pretty damn cool. So that's basically all I change for dungeons. I put slot in Crit Surge. I go with the Lovermonder Stone, with this one here, and that's what all I change. So why go with Lumber Monostone? I think I didn't explain that. It's pretty simple. People usually what they do for dungeons is like go with the set that gives you more penetration. Usually it's Twice Fanged Serpent if you have it, or the Brigand set. The Brigand set adds a little bit less penetration but gives you more stamina and no weapon crit. And it's a buyable set. If you do not run trials, run Spriggans instead of Vicious Ophidian, and then you're basically good to go. And then you also don't need the Lover Monostone. But I do not want to switch my setup all the time. So what I do, I just go with the Lover Monostone, and I drop the warrior, so I get like 450 less weapon damage, almost 500, and I gain 4k more penetration. Actually, it's 4.2k, but I have one piece less in Divines, and then I do not get the amount of penetration that I actually want for dungeons, or a little bit less. Like 4k is still more than enough, especially with the champion points then, and you're good to go for dungeons. You can also actually keep the warrior, it's up to you, but Lover is just will give you a little tiny bit more DPS. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So for champion points, the green CP is currently like semi Maelstrom Arena champion points. I didn't really bother to change it. So you have 31 into Warlord, 4 into Sprinter, and just 56 into Tenacity, 65 into Mooncalf. So what you actually want to do for trials is put more points into Tenacity because you do more heavy attacks. And if you just run dungeons, you can run the same CP setup here. And then I have 34 into Tumbling and 14 into Shadow Ward. For the Red Tree, same setup as always, 52 Ironclad, 21 Spell Shield, 49 Hardy, 49 L Defender, 14 into Thick Skinned, and 19 into Quick Recovery. And then I have in the Blue Tree, currently I have 41 into Piercing. So you might think that's, hey, that's actually quite a lot. Last time I ran with my group, we did not have a Stamina Templar in the group. I'd usually just run 30 into Piercing. But I just decided to go with a few more points into Piercing to compensate the missing Minor Fracture, Mana Breach, because we had no Stamina Templar. But as I always say, sit down with your group and ask your group, hey, what debuff sets are we running? Are we running Night Mother's Gaze? Are we running Thunder Flame? Do we have an infused Crusher enchantment on our main tank? And our off tanks, or do we even have infused Crusher with the Torx Pact? Do we have Alkosh? Just add up these numbers, add up the major fracture from the taunt, and then try to get as close as possible to 18k, and then you know how many points you need to put into Piercing. Just don't try to get more than 18.2k because everything else is wasted. I currently then have 49 into Mighty, 56 into Thaumaturge, 56 into Precise Strikes, and 28 into Mastered Arms. Like, if I need to take points out of Piercing, I just, like, take 10 points out of here, so I'm sitting at 31, then I put 61 into Thaumaturge and 61 into Precise Strikes. That's basically it. So yeah, that's it for champion points. So, for the rotation, it's the same with Shrouded Daggers and Rapid Strikes. I would show to you with Shrouded Daggers because it's a little more simple. So basically what I do before the start of fight, I just look at my target. Usually I also already put down my trap. Oh yeah, before I start to explain, I tried a lot of different things. I tried letting these almost run out to recast them when they run out on cooldown. Sometimes you are on your back bar and you will let this run out 2 or 3 seconds, which is a little bit of an issue, but you get more Shrouded Daggers or Rapid Strikes on the boss. So DPS wise, the result was almost the same. Like, you cannot really tell a difference if you just do tests on the 3-mil skeleton, and you really, it's a little bit hard to sustain on on 51 mil Centurion with the stem Sorc. Like you might encounter some sustain issues, I don't know. But like DPS wise, there wasn't really a big issue. So I will just show you the more simple version of the rotation, which is recasting this all the time. So I buff myself with Cloak, Hurricane on the back bar, then I throw my Caltrops. I'm sorry, I throw my Antler's Hail, then my Caltrops, then Light Attack Trap, Light Attack Poison Injection, then my ultimate on the back bar. That's what I do. So again, Cloak, Hurricane, Hail, Caltrops, Trap, Poison Injection, and my ultimate. What I then do is a heavy attack into Rending Slashes, heavy attack into Shrouded Daggers, heavy attack into Hurricane, light attack, Cloak, then I recast. Hail, Caltrops, Trap, Poison Injection, Bar Swap, heavy attack, Rending, heavy attack, Shrouded, and then light attack, and Bar Swap. The reason we do 2 light attacks is because we do not want our hail to run out. So we can immediately recast it on cooldown. We replace 1 Shrouded Dagger if we can use our ultimate. So whenever we use our ultimate, we just use 1 Shrouded Dagger. But we do a heavy attack into our Hurricane. And now we didn't use an ultimate, so we can go with 2 Shrouded Daggers. But light attack Hurricane, light attack Deadly Cloak to immediately recast everything. That's basically how the rotation works. It's that simple. And it works the same way with Rapid Strikes instead of Shrouded Daggers. So I repeat. We start with casting our buffs. Hail, Caltrops, Trap, Poison Injection. If the ultimate is ready, cast it. If it's not, just bar swap. Then heavy attack Rending Slashes. Heavy attack Shrouded Daggers. 1 time if you use the ultimate. 2 times if you didn't use the ultimate. Then light attack into Hurricane. If you did not use the ultimate, light attack Deadly Cloak into bar swap and then repeat. Or heavy attack into Hurricane if you use the ultimate and then light attack, Cloak and repeat. Relatively simple, really. That's the safest approach, and it will give you probably around the same damage as like trying to recast it when they run out. Like you will. That one thing I can tell you for sure is that we'll get more AE DPS by having this up 100% of the time. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, this rotation will not include DPS tests because I currently don't have I don't have the gear here. I can just show you basically the results. Like I killed the skeleton, as you can see, but I didn't use a potion. That's why I had really low crit chance. If you go for really like trying to cheese fights and get high damage, like this was with the Lover Stone and with Twice-Winged Serpent, but not Croc, you can get values like 41.5k DPS. I'm pretty sure you can even go higher because I wasn't really lucky with crits here. Like it was okay, but with more crit luck I could go higher. And usually you will end up with between 37 to 38.5k if you go with just Twice Sanked. I think I still have one of the tests here. No, this is not it. Yeah, this is the regular test. This was with Twice-Winged Serpent and I think Night Mothers. And Rapid Strikes, you can see. But also not really a lot of crit luck. Like you can go probably 40k, 41k with a little bit more of crit luck on this test. This is completely self-buffed, but as I said, the values on the skeleton don't really matter. Just to show you how it performs in trials, I already uploaded the gameplay, so you can see the gameplay video. This was 52 single target combined. I had 55.2 on one of the bosses and 51.9 on the other one in a relatively messy fight. Then on the assembly general, I was sitting at 35.2, but I had to stay in the back for more than half a minute because someone died in the front, someone of the decoys at the assembly general, and then the firearm was just damaging the melee area all the time, so I had to stay in the back to not die. So I lost around like 2.5-3k single target DPS, so this could have been much higher, unfortunately. And then also combat prayer was pretty low, with just 34%. But just to give you some like numbers, like how it performs in trials. So that's pretty much it for today, guys. I hope this was able to help you. If you have any further questions, feel free to ask them in the comment section. And if you do not want to miss any more ESO content, hit that sub button. I hope you tune in next time too. And until then, bye bye.